Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's bedtime story is one of my favorite stories that I've read ages ago. So, the title of the story is An Old Poor Couple and Prophet Moses. So, do you remember Prophet Moses? You know who's Prophet Moses?
Yes, Musa. His title is Kalimullah.
Kalimullah. Yes, so Hazrat Musa alayhi salam and his title is Kalimullah. You know what is meant by Kalimullah?
Talk to Allah. Spoke to Allah.
He used to have a conversation with Allah, so it's Kalam. In Urdu, it's all Kalam, or so he used to talk to Allah. Like Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. What was Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam? Khalilullah. That Khalil means friend.
Prophet Musa is Kalimullah.
Kalimullah.
And Prophet Ibrahim is Khalil.
Khalilullah. And what is the title of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Habibullah.
Yes, Habibullah, and Habib means the beloved of Allah. Okay, coming back to the story. So, at the time of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, there lived an old couple who were very, very, very poor. So, all their life, they never had even enough food to eat. They were really poor. So, they went to Prophet Moses alayhi salam and told him that we are so poor, we never had enough food in our life. Why is it so? So Prophet Moses, Prophet Musa alayhi salam told him that, for every person, their sustenance, their risk has been written down by Allah. So it's Allah who's written it for you, whether you have to be poor or you have to be rich all your life. So they got very disappointed. They said, okay, so that is our fate, to be poor. But then he said, you are Kalimullah. When you go to meet Allah, tell Allah that instead of giving us so little every day, give us everything that He has written for us on just one day. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was like, he said, but if you give everything on one day, how are you going to live the rest of your life? Because then you won't get any more food to eat. And they said, we don't care. We've never ever seen so much food in our lives. So just tell Allah whatever He has written for us, like our risk, give us all together at one time. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam said, okay, as you wish. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, when he went to the mount, you know which mount was that where he used to go and talk to Allah? Not Sira, but it's called Kohe Ture Sina. It was called.
Oh, Mount Sinai.
Yes.
That's what I said.
Yeah, you said Sira, but that's fine. You're just kind of missing the exact pronunciation. Yeah.
Another Mount.
Yeah.
Another Mount in the other surah. Talking
Okay.
about Mount Sinai.
Yes. So Prophet Moses alayhi salam inquired about their issue as well. Okay. And when Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, came down, that old couple was already anxiously waiting down the mountain for Hazrat Musa alayhi salam to respond to them, to answer their question. And Hazrat Musa alayhi salam told them that yes, he asked Allah about giving them all their sustenance on one day, and Allah has agreed. So Hazrat Musa told them about a particular tree that told them that your angels will bring down all the food that is been written for you on tomorrow, and you will find it all under that tree. So he told him about a tree in the forest.
Is that the name of the tree? Is this tree
No, it was just like because
how do they know that tree? The exact tree.
basically, if you know your town, and naturally it's not about for that. Yeah, so maybe that tree on the park, or that tree from
next to the.
yeah, so it could be any, but he gave him like a particular address, and he said that okay, you will find the food there, so that's fine. And then Hazrat Musa alayhi salam went his way, and the poor couple, the next morning, early morning, they went to the address that Hazrat Musa alayhi salam has told them, whatever the tree was in the forest. and they saw a lot of food there. Now, so a lot of food. So they were like really excited. They'd never seen so much food before in their lives. So they just ate as much as they wanted and they had their full. They'd never had that experience of being full. So they were really happy. But then they realized that after they were full, that food was no use to them. They could not eat anymore. So then they thought that why not? There are so many other poor people. Let's share it with other people. So that what happened is that like they just started sharing their food. And after a few days, like after a few months, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, out of curiosity, he thought, let me see what happened to that couple, because he had not heard from them after that. So he went all the way.
To fight them just in case they had no food. For they would have no food, because if Allah gave them all the food they'd have when in the future, the Prophet could help and give them.
Could be. So maybe he went. So he went searching back to that area. So he saw that tree in the distance. So he kept walking there and tried to figure out where those poor people are. And lo and behold, what he saw when he went there, he saw there's a big gathering of people and it's a lot of food and all the people are eating and there were different kinds of most tasty and delicious foods. And Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was really, really surprised. Would you be surprised?
Yeah.
Where you think the food came from? Where do you think all that food came from? Because you think that the poor children people they would have eaten all the food.
Maybe after the food they shared it with the poor people,
Yeah.
or they might have got something, a miracle could happen.
Miracle could well, a miracle did happen. Basically, even Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was surprised. So he looked around, he was looking for that old man and woman, and he finally spotted that man, and he looked really healthy and even younger and looked very energetic. And Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was so surprised, and he went up to him and he said, what happened? Like your food was supposed to be like given to you for one day. And the man said, well, when we came and there was so much food, we ate the food, but then a lot of food was left behind. So we just shared it. We like kind of sent it in, give it in charity to all the other poor people that we saw. And then next day, when we came back to the tree, there was even more food there. And then we did the same.
Did the Prophet Musa know that what happened?
Even Prophet Musa was so surprised.
No,
They said,
wouldn't he find out himself? Because he should know that the charity begins.
charity. No, like basically Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was quite surprised that how is it possible that if they were given all the food that Allah has written for them, how come there was like more food coming? So they told them that every day we come and there is even more food and then we give away. So it was like kind of a charity. Have you heard the word langar? So langar is like, with friends of Allah and all the big people, and on their shrines, there are people who are giving food to all the people who come and eat. So it's free food and everybody comes and eats. And that never, yeah. So a lot of poor people eat from langars. So that was a food that was just not coming to an end and it was just increasing and increasing. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was really surprised because he did not understand that phenomena. So when he went back to see Allah and had a conversation with Allah, he asked Allah about that fact. And then Allah explained it to him. Do you think what was the reason? Okay, I'll tell you. Basically, when we give in charity, Allah multiplies that money or whatever. So if a person, Allah gives you whatever is written for you for your sustenance, but if a person starts giving it out to other people, then Allah makes that person a source, and through that person Allah gives risks to others, so that person gets so much barakah in his food, in his sustenance, his money. Does that make sense to you? So where did the food come from?
Allah.
Allah, yes. So, yes, say it. You want to say some?
If you give away, you get this thing back as well.
Yes. So basically, in the Holy Quran, Allah says, it's in Surah Sabah, and whatever you spend, He will replace it, and He is the best of the providers. So what happened? When they gave that food to other people, Allah replaced it with even better food.
Better or more?
More and better. Yes.
Better food.
Better food. Yes.
Like tasty.
Tastier, more variety, more in number, amount. And there's another verse in the Holy Quran in Surah Baqarah, and it says, the example of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like a seed of grain which grows 7 spikes. In each spike is 100 grains, and Allah multiplies His reward for whom He wills. And Allah is all and encompassing and knowing. So it's in Surah Baqarah that Allah, when somebody gives in the way of Allah, Allah multiplies it and by 700 times. Can you believe it?
No.
When you go give in the way of Allah, you get so much barakah. Everything is so. Can you not see what was happening in the case of these old people?
Then we got more food when they every day just by giving it to other people. What happened if they stopped? One day they didn't give.
Basically, in the first place, that was all the food they had. If they had eaten it all and just saved it for themselves and had eaten it little by themselves, once that food finished, that was it. There was no more written for them.
So
But
they
instead
didn't
of,
have any more food
yeah,
in their life, even if someone gave it, they couldn't.
well, because Allah has to give it to him, so it was coming through some source to them. So what they did was they did an act of charity.
So then they got more back.
Yeah, because they knew that is the only food they have, but still they were generous and they gave in the way of Allah. So Allah returned it by multiplying it more and more and more. Does that make sense to you?
No, it does.
So what do you think? What lesson have you learned?
That if you do charity, you get 700 times more of what you give.
Okay, and
If you give, you get it back.
so is it a good thing to give in the way of Allah?
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's time to go to bed. Have a good night's sleep. Allah Hafiz. And what do we recite before going to bed? Okay, and recite your charkul, Ayatul Kursi. Allah Hafiz.